You know, I really like it when a company takes some software that we use and we love, and they take it, they make it their own, and they actually add some things that makes it even better than the original version in some manner. Well, that is what I'm going to talk about today, because Prism Live Studio is now live. It's free, and it's a version of OBS Studio that Navar in South Korea has now made, and it's now available. And there's some things in it that actually is better than OBS Studio, and I want to show you that. So I'll talk about what I like about Prism Live Studio and some of the things I think they can improve upon before they go live with the public build. So if you're interested in watching that, stay tuned. All right, everybody, so this is Prism Live Studio. It is OBS Studio. It's just a little different looking. And actually, I think they've kind of decluttered the UI overall, which really makes it more helpful. And they got rid of some of the more industry-related terms and made it a little more simpler to understand for the average user. Some of the neat things that they've added that I really like that OBS Studio does not currently have is multi-streaming built in. So here I have my YouTube and my Facebook connected. It supports all the big three, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook, plus their own services and some of the other services that are more popular over in Asia, where the company is that makes the software. But this is OBS Studio 24. Now keep that in mind, because this supports OBS plugins. But you have to make sure right now that you use the plugins that are compatible with OBS 24 backend. So you can use NDI, you can use Stream Effects. I believe you can use the OBS WebSocket, although I have not tried it yet. I have tested NDI fine, and Stream Effects works great. But the key is you have to download the zip files, and you have to manually install them by using the Windows installer that you would normally use with OBS. That's the only thing that is bad about the plugins, but super easy to install them using the manual method. And there's installer guides out there that shows you how to do it for each of the plugins. But if you know OBS Studio, then you will be familiar with this, because pretty much everything is laid out the same way. As you can tell, we've got your scenes and your sources. All of the things are there. The only thing that is different with the scenes compared to what you're used to in OBS Studio is now you get a live feed of your actual scene here in Prism Live Studio. So I'm going to add an NDI source to this. I'm just going to bring my game PC up. And so you see, you actually get a live view of your scene as it's updating, which is really cool. It's something I like a lot. And it's a nice added little feature set that just kind of makes it stand out a little differently than OBS Studio. Also here, they've got a symbol here for your transitions where you can make different transitions. You can add different transitions. All the main ones are there to support it. One of the things that I really like about the things that they've added is the UI is just simpler. Instead of having buttons with words, they've just given you icons along the side here. This is studio mode. You have a built-in chat function with your accounts. Currently, Facebook is not supported, but Twitch and YouTube are. So you have that built into Prism Live Studio. You have alerts here that you can look at alerts and see if there's anything going on that you might need to adjust. You do have your status window down here where you can look and see if you're dropping encoding frames, render frames, CPU uses, memory uses, bitrate, all that good stuff. And they've made settings, I think, a little easier. And this is where it really is nice, because they've kind of decluttered your settings menu. So here is your general here where you can go in and you can connect accounts. Currently, there's only English and South Korean or Korean supported. Output here is a little different. Now you have an output resolution that you can set right here at the very top. Your output settings support both simple and advanced. And of course, you have all the different encoding supports, including the new NVENC, which is nice. As you can see, they're all pretty standard. You're familiar with these UIs that you are normally seeing in OBS Studio. They're all basically the same. They just kind of been rearranged a little bit to, and instead of having an advanced function, a lot of this stuff has been incorporated into these various tabs, like output, for instance, where you can go in and you can add dynamic bitrate, you can lock to an Ethernet address, you can enable network optimizations. These are all things that are normally under your advanced menu, but now they've brought them under output. Audio is pretty much the same. Visual here is video, where you can go in and set your canvas resolution, your scaled resolution, and your video rendering and all that stuff. Plus, they've added some of this stuff that would be in the advanced menu here too, which is nice. So that's basically why I like this version of OBS, because it's just decluttered. It's a little easier to understand, a little easier to navigate through the UI. And they've renamed sources, so it's a little easier to understand. Okay, here's a web source instead of having a browser source. You have game capture. You have instead of display capture, they call it monitor. You got window capture. If you instead of having a media source, they call it video or music. And, so they've just kind of renamed some of this normal things that we're used to reading and seeing in OBS Studio to make it just a little easier to understand. So really nice. I like this a lot, and it runs as well as OBS Studio. All the features are there that you would have in OBS Studio. It even, you can go to your tools. You have like output for NDI, where you can output using Prism Live Studio just like you would in OBS Studio. Your scripts are there, automatic scene switching, det link output, output timers, scene collection, imports and exports, and it's just there. It's OBS Studio. And just, I think, a little cleaner, which I really like a lot. I really like this, and I've been using this on my live streams every week or every other week on YouTube. This is what I've been using. So anyway, guys, I hope you go out there and give it a shot. I'll provide a link in the description below. One of the things that this adds that OBS Studio doesn't have is it has beauty effects. Now, it's not going to help me out because I'm just ugly, but you can come in and you can select your webcam device. You could turn these effects on, and then you could change things like, you can see my chin changing, for instance. Look at my chin. I can make myself look cuter. You could change your nose width. It's pretty interesting. Neat little feature. I don't know if I'll be using it, but hey, it's there. All right, there's a couple things that I think the developers of Prism Live Studio can do to make things a little nicer. First of all, get Facebook chat working. That would be great. Second, there is something that they do that I'm not fond of that I think they should at least give us the option to remove if we don't want to. Number one, they do have a watermark. It comes enabled by default, and you have to go and disable it. Otherwise, you're going to have a Prism Live Studio watermark on your live stream and on your recordings, which is great that you can disable that and it stays disabled. You don't have to worry about it. But what I don't know how to do yet is at the end of your stream, they do an outro with their logo saying streamed with Prism Live Studio or something to that effect. And I don't know if you can turn that off yet. I have not found how you can turn it off, but I don't think you can. I understand it's free advertising for them. They're offering you a free service. They're actually saving you a lot of money because the multi-streaming functionality within it actually does save you a significant amount of money, vice going with a service like Restream.io. But still, we need to be able to disable that if we don't want it. But functionally, though, Prism Live Studio is there. What I would wish they would be able to do is be able to somehow use the OBS plugin installers, or figure out a way that they can get them compatible with Prism Live Studio where we can install them instead of having to use the zip files. That would just make it easier for people. But the fact that we can use OBS plugins is a godsend. And the fact that we can use NDI output to send video to another client is great too. So really, I mean, Prism Live Studio has all the tools there, has all the functionality you're going to want for general use, and it gives you some options that OBS Studio doesn't, which is really nice. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. I will provide a link down below for Prism Live Studio beta, and they have been updating. Now that's another thing that they have been doing, is they have been updating the beta to fix bugs and add features. So expect more to come out with this, and I can't wait for this to go live for public. So anyway, guys, if you want to try the beta out, I'll provide the link down below. Other than that, have a great weekend. We'll see you later.